connections. So thank you very much. And let's start with a special presentation of Suzy Zeng. She's in LA, and she's the co-founder and CEO of Z Choice International LLC, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So Suzy, thank you for joining us today. What I just want to say that please feel free to share your information and details in the chat box, and I will send a link that you can register yourself, your name, your company, your email, and in the end of the session, I'll be more than happy to share all this information to all of you, and we will take it from there. So, Suzy, please, you have the microphone and the screen.
Thank you, Tal, and thank you, Doug, and Global Chambers inviting me back to give this speech. Actually, it's about sharing my learnings, share the best practices for the food industry, as well as for brand building in the global settings, such in countries such as China, Asia. So obviously, we only have a very few minutes to share those information. But if in any ways that myself at Z Choice International can help at all, please feel free to reach out. Will build the connections for you. And so I want to share just a couple slides as well as our website to illustrate what we do and what we can do to help. This is one of the deck that I share with my US clients. So it's really US focused, but the same type of practice can be leveraged in Israel and other parts of the world as well. So it's primarily focused on brand building in China. So just want to give you a sense that what do we do? And we basically providing one-stop shopping. So we help build the brands. We primarily focus on the food industry, but again, the ecosystem related to food industry, business alike, that we can help as well. So I just want to share you a couple more slices around here, that you look at the uh, brands you have or the business you have and going to giant market like China and ever changing China can be very, very challenging. So we just want to provide that services and give you the go-to market strategies, insights, expertise, and find the right partners there. And we do that. We recognize the challenges you face if you have a small to medium sizes of brands. That can be very challenged because in China, if you forget anything else, it's about ever changing. China market, Chinese consumers, everything is changing, and not to mention the IP brand protection is very crucial, as you might be aware of that, and also the challenges about lost in translation is not just about language. You are in the business, you know, you can hire translators and they're not going to do the work. It's about the connections, about the insights, about trust that you build. The China market, I just want to give you the innovation to mention. I know Tal talk about the food innovation. I will spend a couple of minutes mention that as well. In terms of the size of the market, it's really it's quite different and quite attractive. You look at the size of the internet users, over 850 million. So definitely the largest e-commerce, not to mention right now the Shanghai lockdown, not getting into the details, but you think of how people get their food deliver, everything you do order through internet, delivering, fast delivery. And yet the consumer goods market is being fast growing as well. Then you get into the retail sales is really grow drastic. This can be illustrated on the the little chart on the left. So I'm gonna switch back to, just a couple more innovation side to just give you a sense of what the channel look like. I'm gonna go to my the Z Choice website, and you can access anytime. It's called z-choice.com, and we are showing you towards the bottom line. There's some food innovation trends that we are sharing there, for example. So, and one of the key showcase in the food global trends in China, it's the upcoming event called the Food and Beverage Innovation Convention and Expo. It's scheduled to be held in Shanghai. Don't laugh yet. End of May, early June. So we still have our fingers crossed to make that happen. But Z Choice as the North America partner for this expo and the convention, and we bring speakers, we bring the North America trends to this the largest events in food industry in China as well. So so that is where, besides the 3,000 food professional attendees, just for the convention itself, the experts will talk about the global trends. And this, I don't know if you can see it. So basically, the global trends, we publish top 10 trends every single year. At this event, so we'll talk about the top 10 as well. So highlight number 3, the top 3. So basically, we're talking about in China looking for sustainability for food industry, and in China also looking for the combination of the Western trends versus global traditional food trends. And lastly, but not least, for kids, that's the nutrition, children nutrition, and women's nutrition is on the high rise. So just those name 3, because my time limit, I'm not going to get into too much detail on that. But again, if you are interested, I'll be happy to share that information with you in more details. And the Z Choice, one of the things I need to mention, I like to mention, BioLift, the owner of BioLift is from Innobev, and LA is from Israel. So that is, he's a dear friend, is a great business man that I have the most respect to. So LA Faragi. So I tell you might know him. Again, that is my connection to Israel, and is one of the brands that Z Choice represent in China. That's it for now. I'm going to stop here, and if you have any questions in the future or later in the session, I'll be happy to answer.
We do have like 3 minutes for Q&A, or if you want to add some more insights, but we do have 3 minutes to Q&A. Anyone wants to start? Okay.
I was curious. Can I? Suzy, would you just kind of give a minute maybe of like what the macro market looks like for people thinking about China? Like if you're from Israel or from the US, what are some of the niche areas that make sense in this area?
For in general, one of the slides I mentioned to you, Doc, that's a great question. The CPG area, meaning consumer packaged goods, definitely on the still continue to grow. And the niche for international brands is to get into more plant-based. So if you are in the food industry, plant-based is continue to grow. It's 4 years consecutively. So if you want to get into that specific, plant-based protein really refers to anything beverages, snacks, and meals, anything you can think about replacing the animal protein-based products. So that would be number one if you are indeed just the food industry. But if you are in the consumer packaged goods, looking for things that you can market around the sustainability. So that's actually quite surprising, right? So China is probably the last place you think it would think about sustainability, but yet the emerging trend is for affluent consumers who have access to the global trends through internet or through travel. They are looking for that. So things related to present, things related to like if you can trace the source of your products, food included, that is definitely on the horizon. So if you have something you can offer that trading, the tracking, great idea, great brand to build there as well. And one more thing, Doug, to answer your question, Chinese consumers are very willing to try new products. So that is the contrary of US consumers. So if you do good job in marketing of your brand, and Chinese consumer are really much willing to try anything consumer packaged goods, right? They're willing to try, even if you have a bulk material that can be on the need too. So repeat is different story. So they're willing to try, give it a trial, but repeat is where sustain your brand. So that what that means is that if you have very small business, you actually have a good chance to grow there in such a gigantic market. It's going to be challenged if you try to grow in US, right? US is a little bit more of closer to like, hey, do I know your brand? Are you something that I'm used to? But in China, you can tell the story. They love to give it a try.
I have a question. Thank you. I have a question, Suzy. What about if I have a small company that wants to penetrate the Chinese market? Are any special regulations that we need to take in account, and or something that there is no chance to that the Chinese market will receive? Also in Israel, the vegan industry is really blooming. A lot of people, because of sensitivities and allergies, moving to vegan food or without any carbs or something like this. Can you give like a few points and what kind of food brand, not brands, but food types have more chances to penetrate the Chinese market? Because I do have a lot of companies that want to market the food, and they usually exclude the Chinese market because they don't understand it and they think it's too big and it's too complicated. And now when you tell me this, it looks easier.
Yeah, absolutely. You head on. So I hear this question a lot. Actually, Z-Choice exists is because those kind of demand. It's really understandable. Brands, smaller brands are scared of the market because it's really so complex. And the regulation changes a lot. You need somebody to help you interpret what's changing a lot, right? But the vegan fruits, for example, are really in demand. I just mentioned the plant-based protein products continue to grow. It's just amazing grow fourth year consecutively. Not mention that Chinese already has a huge plant-based, or should we say vegetarian consumer base. China, as you may be aware of that, a huge halal foods consumers base already because of religions, and Muslims, actually they're Chinese, they're a huge, there's a big group of Muslims, Chinese consumers there as well. People don't realize that. So again, then the general consumers love vegan foods as well because all the reasons you just mentioned. And plant-based protein allergies, consumers start to realize they're more and more intolerant, lactose intolerant, meaning they're sensitive to dairy foods. So yes, I really think that don't be afraid. So my advice is like this is the right way to go. If any of your foods companies need some introduction, I'll be happy to do that. And one of the way we introduce smaller brands is to through our connection with Food Daily, which is the biggest media companies in China, and we give them exposure. BioLift, for example, I just mentioned LA, and I invited him to be a speaker there, so he's quite a celebrity there.
Great. Thank you very much. You answered my question, and I really think that I can refer to you a few of my contacts. Thank you. Okay, so Suzy, thank you very much. And please leave the details in the chat so we can contact you. And moving to our next speaker, Yuka Nakasone. She's the Chief Strategist of International Growth in Global Bridge SL. And Yuka, very happy to see you again here in our meetup and now as a speaker. So please, you can share the screen and you have the microphone. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you. And I don't have the deck to share, but I just go talking. It's I think it's better to have a dialogue with the people we have. This is a meetup, right? And I'm not sure what is real interest is. So I just continue from Suzy because I am an international growth strategist, meaning that I come from language industry. I was a translator, translating day in, day out, more than 15 years. But I become a localization manager in a company. Then by learning there, I realized that what exactly Suzy said, you hire a translator, it wouldn't do any job to sell. You know, translation is good in terms of communication, and we are now living in digital era. So if you have something in the language, the possibility that you are found in the ocean of information raises. But that's about it. If you hire a translator, not particularly localized or not particularly adapted to the local market, taken into the market and worked, it doesn't work. So what I started to do is to taking advantage of my language experience with the mix of language and adding a little more of digital strategy and in-country strategy to sell. So what Suzy said was really true, that we need a professional like her to sell in the country. And what my country is Japan. I was born and raised in Japan. Now I'm based in Spain, and I'm in terms of food, I've been dealing with sparkling wines for about, I started in 2006. So for about 15 years. And this is the second brand I opened the market and entered into Japan. And I'm exporting sparkling wine in Japan. And what Suzy said was really true in Japan as well. The trend is organic and natural and sustainability. So it seems like the Japanese market is already full, and it seems like it's impossible. It seems like very difficult. Once you're there, the Japanese consumers are pretty loyal. So it is a question of how to hack the entry into the market and test with the consumers and response to their taste and keep selling. That's what we have to do with the Japanese market. And I'm not sure if you know or not, but one of the particularity of the Japanese market is the excellence of the product, meaning the content is very, very important. Of course, the taste, or maybe being organic, being vegan, or just everything should be excellent, including packaging. So what happened with the first shipping of this particular brand that I'm dealing with, it's organic sparkling wine, 100% organic, was that even if I insisted on the quality of the packaging, once arrived and once checked by the Japanese merchant, out of 300 bottles, 26 was not qualified. So it's around 8% of the whole entire shipping. And I am wondering how to really communicate with the producers to educate around that, because the Japanese consumers look for the top quality, including the packaging. If there's a slight touch on the label, it's not qualified to sell. Maybe you can use it as a sample. So that's what the distributor is doing. So that's something you have to have in your mind. And also, even if digital is now a norm, Japanese market is really heavily structured by an old distribution channels and distribution chain. Really, it's really rigid. And if you get into a particular food, maybe everybody knows everybody. So it's a little small world, and you need to be caring the relationship, and you really need to be mindful about what you're doing with everybody. And unlike other market, relationship is really important. The lead time to enter the market is longer in Japan because you have to keep building the relationships until the buyer is really trusting you. It's not likely, an order not likely to happen. So that's another thing. I mean, maybe Chinese consumers are quicker if you enter with a good quality product. Correct me if I'm wrong, Suzy. This is my impression, that if you bring something good, something great, something beautiful, something top, Chinese consumers are really quick to grab, but maybe it's not true in Japan. So you need to have a strategy how to go about that. You want to enter through the conventional distribution channel, going to the kind of conventions, or enter into the market with somebody like me who can kind of think how to hack the conventional distribution channel. This is what I did, for example. Having the target market that we can sell already, I figured out the distributor and connected the producer. So that was the way I worked. So that is something that you may want to think, not just thinking that I want to. Many people comes to me saying, I want to go to sell in Japan. Yes, of course. But let me ask you a question. What is the particularity of your product? What kind of consumer you thought about before you came to me? Let's talk, So maybe that kind of brainstorming is really important. And it's a myth, and it's not true that Japanese market is closed, too difficult to enter. No, you can enter because trade deficit in Japan is great. I mean, they have to import all the oil, all the, the primary material, including food. Food is coming from outside of Japan mostly. So let's not think it's impossible. It's possible, but maybe we have to strategize a little bit more. So that's my take. And if you have any questions, I'd like to have a conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Yuka. And we do have like 2 minutes for questions. I will start by asking, do we need to create a subsidiary company in order to trade or to penetrate to either the Japanese or Chinese market? Or you can do it as for example, with a US company or with an Israeli company for this case. So do we need, because I know that there are specific countries that you have to open a subsidiary company inside the country in order to be able to penetrate the market.
Yeah, China is a little different from Japan. In terms of Japan, there's no fixed kind of law regulations that you have to have a Japanese partner or Japanese subsidiary, but I highly recommend having somebody in Japan is very important because of the time difference. If you're sitting in Europe or in the States or in Israel, it's difficult to communicate with the people who are dealing with your product in their time zone and in their language. Believe or not, it's very, very important because Japanese language is a highly contextual language, meaning most of the things that we don't say, you have to understand it. It's a heck of work. If you're a foreigner, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but for me as a Japanese, it's sometimes very difficult to guess exactly what they mean. Imagine a foreigner with a Japanese as a foreign language. It's a little difficult. So I highly recommend to have somebody in Japan. I mean, to enter, maybe you can hire somebody, not like having a subsidiary open, but as a contact, you need somebody for sure, I think.
Okay, thanks. And Suzy, in China, is it the same or different?
In China, it's slightly different. Number one, that if you're just doing exporting, meaning your products is produced elsewhere other than China, you do not need to register. You do not need to have a physical company address in China, but you do need have authorized distributor or wholesaler to sell your products. That's number one. Number two, your company needs to be registered with China custom. That is some new requirement that just happened in February. And that registration process is really tedious. it's to Yuka's point that it's try to interpret what the English means, even though they have an English version, you really have no clue what that means. So they will ask you like, what is your process of diagram? No one's given willing to give that process diagram or ingredient line, right? So if you have somebody if your distributor or wholesalers help you through that entity registration, you can get through. Now, if you wanted to have a localized production there in China, you do need to register in China. That process is tedious. It takes years, maybe, if not years, at least I think a month for sure. It may not get email approval. So that's why companies consider joint ventures if they localize. But in the beginning, you do want to just do a small steps. Don't take that far. You don't know your product's the right fit or not. And what you want to do is to do exporting or cross-border e-commerce that we tend to help brands to begin with, and to register your company as an entity with the China custom.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else has questions?
Actually, I have a question to Suzy.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, I mean, in Japanese market, once consumer accept the products, it's easier. I kind of feel like it's easier for them to stay. Is it the case in China or consumer? I mean, I see many articles like European brands kicked out from China, kind of, articles. Maybe that's something that we see a lot, and it's not really true if you gather hundreds and hundreds of brands that in China. Is it perception, or it can happen to a brand easily? Like you said, I mean, you have to close your business or something like that.
I think your perception could be that it's harder to get into Japanese market, but once you establish your reputation, your competition, it's relatively less. You can stay there longer, right? Versus China, it could be the other way around. That is actually the correct perception. May not be 100% true. So China. In other words, to get in the China market, consumers are willing to try your brand if you do advertising and marketing correct. And the Chinese, it could like succeed overnight, which happens. You heard about those Double 11, November 11th e-commerce. Somebody can be overnight success with the Chinese promotion. Through Tmall, for example. Then on the other hand, the China market is so complex, even though it's relatively easy to get in, but the competition is huge. If you compare 10 years ago versus now, you walk into any of the supermarkets or any of the e-commerce sites, the choices consumer have, it's just amazing. So you have to do something to constantly innovate or do brand advertising in order to stay on top of the game.
Is quality most important, or pricing most important, or mixture of everything?
It's truly a mixture, because China, think about 1.3, 1.4 billion consumers, and they're not created equal. So meaning they have a multiple dimensional needs, and the consumers, we segment them into at least 5 tiers. So we do that. The first tier is the mega cities like Shanghai, 29 million people. There's there's another like Chengdu 27 million, Beijing is probably 24 million, right? Shenzhen, you say, hey, I don't want anybody else. I just need those 3 cities. Good luck, right? Because those are the first tier. Then you get into smaller city. We call smaller cities in the 10th millions. Those are the smaller cities. Consumer have a little bit different needs there. They tend to be more price sensitive compared to the first tier. It tends to be more quality or more of substantially different than any other brands. So then you get into 5th tiers, 4th tiers, very, very price sensitive, right? So it doesn't mean that they don't have demand for high quality foods. Again, China, city-wise, they're a lot more mobile now compared to before. So consumers still have those different demands. Really depends on your product segmentations. Any category has the price premiered products more expensive than US priced products, for example. Then you get it down to the value products.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have to move on. I think that it's beautiful what Global Chamber bring us, because I received so much information about those 2 markets, the Chinese market and Japanese market, even though I have like a little bit understanding about the Japanese market. I myself training for 37 years, martial art, Japanese karate. I was in Japan 3 or 4 times for 2 months and lived in the houses of the people, entered the schools, and but still it's amazing how we can learn about those markets, especially in a business perspective. So first of all, I want to thank both of you for shedding a little bit light about this kind of process. I'm sure that I can transfer this information and connect relevant companies to each and every one of you. And now we are going to move to the second session of our meetup, which is our guests and members presenting their companies and looking for connections. And let's start with our Metro member. He's a Global Chamber member, Ariel Michaeli. Ariel, you have 1 minute, my friend, to present yourself, your company, and what kind of connection would you like. And there is only one thing that I want to say before that. I see the chat box is empty. So now is your chance. And I think it's empty because it was really fascinating to listen to you. And nobody wanted to chat behind the scenes because it was very interesting and very insightful. So thank you for this. And Ariel, now is your time. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, I agree, Tal. This was really fascinating. Although I'm not in the food industry, but I'm a vegan, so it's very interesting for me to learn about the needs of China and Japan. We do command and control systems, and we help first responders get more information from their public to help them better in real time. So this does not have to be police or emergency medical services. It can also be hospitals. It can be schools or universities. We're fairly lightweight in our products and can give immediate value. So these are the kind of contacts we're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ariel, and please leave the details in the chat. Lately, because of Global Chamber, we were able to connect Ariel to the Red Cross in Hermosillo with Christian. So this kind of connection we can provide to our members. And I see here Arturo. Arturo is the executive director in Mexico, Guadalajara. Hi, Arturo. Good to see you here, my friend. Here, I will be more than honored to give you your 1 minute to present yourself. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tal. It's always great to see you and everyone here at Global Chamber. It's always a happy environment. Well, we are situated here in central Mexico. I am the executive director, as Tal mentioned. We are here My information is in the chat. You guys feel free to contact me if you want to explore opportunities in Central Mexico. We also have some of our companies or our members from the chapter giving an event, a virtual event next Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you would like to know more about the situation here in Guanajuato, what our members are doing for new strategies in marketing in this 2022, please join us then, and I'll be happy to be in contact with you if you want to explore this option. Thank you, Tal. It's great to see you all.
Thank you, Arturo. Always a pleasure to have you here in our meetup. And let's go to Nihi. Nihi, are you connected? Nihi is a Global Chamber member from Nigeria. Nihi, you have 1 minute, my friend. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. My camera is off because White Doctor has already. So I'm a lawyer in Nigeria. I try to help companies who are interested in the Nigerian and African market generally. So if you have potential interest in Nigeria and a few African countries, maybe for export alliances, for exploration of business opportunities, and you can reach out to me. I'll be willing to assist. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a GC member, GC Lagos, Nigeria member. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nihi. Thank you for joining again to our meetup. And I see Tony today. He's a guest and hopefully will join us this month. Tony is the chief officer, right? The CEO? No,
Chief Marketing Officer.
Chief Marketing Officer in Dito Labs. So Tony, you can present. Last time your microphone was off, and now you can repair that. You have 1 minute, my friend. Go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you, Tal. Thank you, everyone. Really interesting talk here. And I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Dito Labs. We're an R&D solutions company for chemical engineering, mostly in green environmental technologies. We work with the one-stop shop. Our philosophy is we have our core employees, and then we have a wide range, a network of expert consultants in various fields. We're using professors from the Technion, Ben Gurion University. We were established in 2019 by Dr. Aaron Madai, our CEO. He has a PhD in chemical engineering from the Technion. His specialization is reactor engineering, and he's an expert in pyrotechnics and explosives. We're looking for mostly clients, manufacturing. If you're looking to lower your pollution footprint, we're the people to talk to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. Tony is a non-member yet, but hopefully he will join us. And then we can share all the good contacts with you. Yeah, Doug, hi. Good to see your picture. I just saw, you know.
I didn't want to interrupt. I'm happy to talk later, but I wanted just a quick comment because seeing Tony, I think this is maybe the second or third time I've seen him. I'm a chemical engineer. I have 5 patents in catalyst technology, and kind of that's been most of my career. And so when I hear Tony talk, I usually jot down. I've got a long list of people to introduce you to, Tony. So definitely don't wait much longer if you're interested in getting some clients and things like that. Definitely talk to Tal and get this done. We have a backlog of stuff for you.
Thank you very much, Doug. Yeah, Tony, you wanted to respond shortly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look forward to.
Yeah, my wife, she always laughs about me being a chemical engineer. Is like, why don't you go back to becoming a chemical engineer again? It's like, no, I don't think so. But I certainly am fascinated by, and plus we have a lot of contacts, so we'll be ready to help you.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it.
And I see Furby here. Furby, are you available to speak?
No, not today. Not today.
Okay.
Not today.
So I just present Furby shortly, and if you can just leave the details in the chat. Furby is she's a member from Ghana, and she's an exporter of a lot of things, among them wood. And she has an amazing product. She's really serious company, and you can just follow her website and be amazed by it. So thank you very much for joining us, even if it's just for hearing. And I see Terry, our friend, Terry Levine. Terry is a global advisor from Utah. Terry, you have 1 minute, my friend. Thank you for joining us today again.
Quickly, I love fooding. So if you love food, I love food here in Utah. The Food in White Club here. So we organize this big event in the street of Park City, and we have more than 10,000 people who come to basically to drink wine, discover different fooding at the different restaurants in the street Park City. Well, roughly, look at my LinkedIn. I'm basically a global advisor here for one of the two global advisors of the Global Chamber here in Utah, in this part of the Rocky Mountains. And we are located between Denver and California. We are the Central Rocky Mountains. Yes, we are still skiing because it's still snowing. So we can still ski at this moment. I'm a business development freelancer. I'm here to develop startup entrepreneurs, anybody who is interested in launching the products here in this part of the USA. I'm also an entrepreneur working with the fooding, the hospitality, the tourism, and the cinema media industry. Winexcel.com, we are the social digital firm for helping people to grow the business in rural territories of the world. For the rest, I'm also an actor, as you can see. I'm pretty much into culture, so Chaplain, yeah, as you can see behind me.
Terry, we need to move on, my friend, today. Sorry. So thank you very much, and just leave the details in the chat. And always a pleasure to see you in our meetups. And thank you for joining today. I think that I covered everyone. So this time I will also present myself. Beside my ED in being an ED in the Israeli Global Chamber, I also have a digital company that provide platforms and innovative products. One of them is the e-card. As you see here, it's a smart digital business card that enhance all the digital platforms. And if you want to see it, you can just scan it even from your screen right now. And also, if you're using WhatsApp, we can share it without being without the need to save it first to our contacts. So it's connect all the digital assets, and you can rapidly share it everywhere on WhatsApp, on text messages, in the social media, and it will connect and enhance all the digital assets like your website, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram over here. And it's actually, you will have it all the time on you. You don't need any paper cards anymore, or 10 links, one for LinkedIn, one for Facebook, one for your website, one for your email, everything in one compact place. We do have, this is the smallest product that we have. We also have brochure systems that you can create a brochure, sale, offer, any product that you want in less than 1 minute. It's mainly for people that are not that digital, and it's make everything easier in life, very fast. So good connections for me, any company, also for their employees, companies that would like to have digital e-cards for all the employees, and then they can just change if somebody is leaving, and or changing any title of jobs. So thank you. I will leave the details in the chat. And I think that we covered everyone. I'll give Cesar if he's there, and then Doug, if you can summarize everything as always. Cesar, are you here for saying 1 minute something? Yeah.
Hey, Tal.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Cesar. Nice hat, by the way. Is that?
Yeah, this is actually, oh my God, I'm lost here. This is Pichi. Pichi is a member of the Global Chamber from here, Puerto Rico.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, so hi everyone, and thanks Suzy and Yuka for the information shared. I was drinking a Puerto Rican coffee while listening, wondering how is the coffee market in Japan and China. So something we can discuss later on for sure. My name is Cesar Trabanco from VP of Field Services from the Global Chamber, and helping members connect with introductions and opportunities, and as well as helping the chapter leaders like Tal Silverberg to connect with other chapters and do events and in anything I can. So feel free to reach out to me with any question. I'm happy to help. Thanks, Tal.
Thank you very much, Cesar. Thank you for all your support and help behind the scenes. And Doug, I'll be more than honored to have you to say some words and summarize our meetup as always and send us to an amazing weekend.
2 minutes to finish up. So no, I appreciate it. Maybe two things. First of all, the speakers off the charts. Suzy and Yuka, you guys are amazing. And it really was quite exciting because I know Japan reasonably well, having lived there, and Yuka, everything you said really resonated, especially the labels not being right for the market. I've been through so many experiences where the Japanese pick apart, you know, the visual appearance of whatever product it is that we historically most people don't have sensitivity to, and it's real. It's not against the foreigners. It's just a real way that they look at the market. And China is just so amazingly opportunistic for companies, you know, and Suzy, thank you for sharing that. Last thing I would like to say in my final minute is Thunderbird, the word of the day, Thunderbird. That is Thunderbird School of Global Management, the #1 business school in the world, 75th anniversary. Global Chamber has moved into the headquarters in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, which may not be that interesting for you from the Phoenix perspective, but there's 30 hub cities around the world. I don't think they're in Tel Aviv, so I'm going to have to work on them to see what the timing will be, but they have hub cities in London and Tokyo and all around the world. And so the synergy with our 525 chapters is very exciting. So we've been very busy the last 2 weeks in thousands of people coming into Thunderbird for the big grand opening for Thunderbird and Global Chamber. So sorry, we're running a little bit late, and I have a deep apology for Tal to you that we didn't get the newsletter actually out this week. Last week, we didn't get it out to non-members because the technology has been changing, and there was a glitch in the non-member email that went out, which ended up being positive, but nonetheless, it was kind of weird. We're still learning the new technology, and we didn't learn it fast enough. And so I'm sure that's one of the reasons why the attendance today was a little bit lower, but we'll have it fixed probably today and certainly no later than tomorrow, and we'll have next week's back. It's not going to help your meeting today, but I think if we can get a recording of this and maybe put a blog post, I think there'll be a lot of people interested in what Yuka and Suzy talked about. Thanks for organizing this, Tal. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Doug, and thank you for the help. And again, once more, thank you very much, Suzy, and thank you very much, Yuka, for the amazing information that you shared with us. And in this positive atmosphere, as always, I would like to bless you all in Happy Easter, Happy Passover, and Eid Mubarak, because now we have all the holidays together. And have a great weekend. If anyone wants to say one comment, now is the time, because we are on top of the hour exactly. And then we can go to our weekend and rest a little bit. Anyone want to say something before we leave?
Thank you, Tal. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Cesar. Thank you, everybody. Amazing information. Happy to be here.
Great. So
Thank
thank you very much, everyone. See you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, and I will share the recording with Cesar and Doug so they can share it. It was amazing. Thank you again, Suzy. Thank you again, Yuka, and thank everyone for joining us. Next time we will next meetup will be, I think, in 3 weeks because of the holiday, and we will keep you posted. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.